From a really young age, we're all trained to trust words. We treat language like it's our absolute ultimate currency. But here's the thing, we're kind of being fooled. People don't actually speak from truth. They speak from survival. They speak from fear.
See? Humans leak the truth in the cracks. Just watch the moments they suddenly break eye contact.
Or listen to the way they laugh just a little too long. It's this unnatural sound, right? Just covering up a buzzing anxiety underneath.
And notice the neurosubject change. Watch how incredibly fast people pivot a conversation, the absolute second a topic gets a little too real for them.
Okay, let's dive into this explainer. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said that every profound spirit needs a mask. Now, he didn't mean this as an insult, not at all. He meant it as a desperate warning. He's warning us, literally begging us, not to confuse the heavy armor for the actual breathing person underneath. Which brings us to Section 1, the armor we all wear. Truth 1, the mask of survival.
To survive society, people create this, curated version of themselves that they hope the world's going to accept. And they aren't doing this because they're malicious or fake. They're doing it because they're scared. But masks aren't perfect. They slip. So I want you to watch for the tension. Watch for what makes someone deeply uncomfortable. Because exactly where that mask slips and the tension starts, that is where the real person emerges.
Next up is projection and loud silence. Truths 2 and 3, the cracks in the armor.
Let's propel a bit deeper into the exact places where this persona breaks. Truth 2 is all about projection. It's basically hating in others what we are absolutely terrified to admit in ourselves. So, when you hear repeated, really harsh criticism from someone, you aren't hearing an objective observation. Nope, you're actually hearing a confession of their own hidden pain. And this brilliantly illustrates what I mean. This dynamic is playing out constantly around us. Someone who constantly mocks arrogance or aggressively points out dishonesty in others. They're often hiding something massive. They're projecting that judgment outward to just completely distract from their own deep insecurity and the truths they refuse to acknowledge.
So, why the pause? Well, Nietzsche actually saw language as a tool of the herd, mostly used to avoid confronting reality. And Truth 3 tells us that dodging those deep topics and just offering short, perfectly rehearsed replies, that reveals everything a person fears. When someone completely avoids vulnerability, I promise you that silence is infinitely louder than their speech.
Moving on to the vanity of virtue. Truth 4, excessive goodness as a shield.
We need to be highly wary of those folks who loudly proclaim their purity or who are literally always correcting everyone else. Nietzsche called this the will to power. It's using morality as a mask for superiority. A really loud virtue signal almost always hides a desperate need for applause. And why? Well, because real goodness doesn't need an audience, it just is.
Let's move to aura and see how this builds into the art of self-deception. Truth 5, the lies we tell ourselves.
Look, when someone's story doesn't quite add up, they aren't usually lying to you maliciously. They're just deceiving themselves to keep functioning in a tough world. Think about it. I am fine. I'm totally over it. I really don't care. We hear these constantly, right? These are lines rehearsed so often the speaker actually starts to believe them. When you spot these inconsistencies, you gotta recognize them for what they are. Self-defense mechanisms playing out right in front of your eyes.
And that brings us to superiority hides deep inferiority. Truth 6, the scared child wearing a crown.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the super heavy contrast. Someone might project total dominance, parade their endless accomplishments, and just deal out casual put-downs all day. But underneath that whole aggressive outward performance, they are terrified of being overlooked. They feel deeply, deeply inferior. Behind all that aggressive superiority is really just a fragile, scared child hiding under a really heavy crown. Because real confidence, it doesn't need to dominate. Let's wrap things up with reading the human core. Empathy, not leverage. So, the crucial point is that spotting these patterns isn't about gaining power over people, it's about empathy. It's about decoding real-time behavior. Constant interruptions? That's rarely arrogance. It's usually a deep fear of being forgotten. Obsessive happy posting on social media? That's so often a desperate cry for help. Avoiding eye contact when saying I'm fine? Listen to the body, not the sentence. These 6 truths literally become actionable tools for offering grace to the people around us. Because ultimately, compassion is the entire goal here. When you can finally see someone's core, when you spot the fear hiding behind the bully or the guilt masking as arrogance, you become so much less likely to hate them.
You stop being fooled by the mask, and you can finally start genuinely connecting with the real person beneath it all.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought and just turn the mirror back onto your own life for a second. When was a moment someone showed you the complete truth without saying a single word?